Yo, we about to do this. Let's go. What's up, everybody? I'm Kaz Lamar. I'm going to be your host for this evening. Hey, I got some special guests. First coming up is Adam Smith of the Underground Hip Hop Video Magazine. He's going to talk about his music and Pittsburgh hip hop history. I also have Troy Scott. He's a musician and producer. We're going to be talking about messaging in the music. We're also going to be talking about a whole lot of things. So stay with me and let's get this thing going. We got Adam Smith, the
Good afternoon.
the creator, the co-creator. Should I be saying that? Should I be saying co-creator and producer?
Creator and co-producer, and creator, executive producer, co-producer.
Get it right.
I have a team of a couple people who started the program. It was my idea, but it was not launched by only me.
That is so sweet, man. Hey, listen. Hey, you know what? I got a good practice thing in with you, man. Just a little while ago, man. We were practicing like a mug, but we're here.
Oh, absolutely.
Hey, we're here now. Hey, listen. Let me do something. I wanna talk to people and tell people who you are to me really quick.
Certainly.
My understanding is you confirmed this for me. We met actually in Duquesne University. Explain that to everybody. You know how we met.
Certainly. I was in the housekeeping department at Duquesne University at the time, and I was cleaning up and heard some really cool melodies coming from the piano that was in the ballroom a couple floors below us. And I looked down there and saw a brother down there playing. And so I made my way down there and struck up conversation with you. And we ended up having a lot of things in common just from our first conversation, which spun into what ended up being decades-long friendship.
Man, it's amazing because when you say that, man, it touched my soul, man. Because I remember just going down to that piano all the time and just playing.
Yes.
All the time, I would just go down there and just play, man. And
right, man.
And
not only there, but there was another one in the floor below in a room called the Duquesne room. I went by there a couple of times during there playing. This wasn't the first. The time that I introduced myself to you was not the first time I heard you playing the piano.
Right. The funny thing, that's hilarious, man, because, in Duquesne University, I took lessons from the handyman Joe Negri, man. I was taking jazz lessons from him, but
Right.
yeah, that music thing, man, was so powerful for me, man. That's how I dealt with a lot of things, man. But the funny thing about it is, when I met you, man, it was just like an instant connection right away, man. You and I are kindred spirits because we have similar personalities. A lot of this,
Absolutely.
yeah, a lot of this, me doing this, show, just like you doing your show, but in real life, I'm an introvert, man. I do not want to be bothered with too many people on my private time, man.
As am I, my friend. As am I.
Come on, man.
Really small circles,
yes,
bro.
yes. So I have some pictures up here, just like this going through, man, of Mel Plowden, the Method Man, RZA, Black Steel's up here, Mel Man, all these people. Before I get into the Underground Underground Hip Hop Video Magazine stuff, I want to talk to you about your music. I want to talk about how you got involved in music, period, and how, what was your inspiration to get involved in music?
Certainly. I spent my childhood listening to funk and soul from my older brother, and always had just a really big interest in the sound. Never saw myself as a musician, but I just loved the music. And then I went to my first live concert, which was a Bootsy concert, and decided that that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to play the bass because Bootsy was so cool up there playing the bass. So I bought a bass and brought it home and did not know that there was such a learning curve in learning to play music. I had no musical experience as far as being how to play music, and ended up almost giving it up, being too frustrated to go on because it was not coming to me easily enough.
Man, you got funky, man. Please, you got funky.
I stayed with it. I'm glad I stayed with it.
Yeah, you got funky. Hey, go ahead. No, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
I spent my whole life teaching myself how to do whatever I wanted to do, from riding a unicycle and still to drawing to making music. To
yeah, man. Just You're just an artist, man. You were just a creative. That's a word that I heard you use a lot. You use the word creative, man. That's something that we had in common, man. I think, and also I think you were very smart. You knew who to put yourself around to learn your learning curve, and you
Oh
knew.
man, steel sharpens steel, man. You got to put yourself around people whose talent you respect if you want to have some talent. You can't put yourself like you. I bought all this equipment, so hey, my name is Hemorrhoid. I'm the leader. It don't go like that, man. If you want to do anything in the creative environment, it's my belief that you need to put yourself around people who are already doing or already have their own strengths.
Got it, man. So from you and I, music was just something that ran through my body. It's just something that I was. It's who I am.
Right.
When we met, I remember we start talking like, hey, yeah, I'm into this, you into this, and then you's like, hey, yeah, blah, 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 blah. I went up to your studio. I said, wait, this got a Mirage? Sam, remember that?
Yes, sir.
The Mirage. I said, yeah. And I had just started working on the SB 1200.
Right.
But we'll have this conversation because we're going to talk about sampling and all this stuff in a minute. But let's explain the recording process of how that went back then. See, you would understand. So I cannot get people to understand what we had to do to record back then.
Oh my gosh, man.
Explain to because these young people don't understand, man. They're so arrogant, man. I'm sorry, I have to say.
That's the 4-track days, man. So there wasn't. You can take the word loop out of your vocabulary before we had this conversation because wasn't no looping nothing.
Only thing the loop was the drum all we had was the drum machine. That was it.
Here you go. Yeah,
there was no sequencers. There was no drop and drag. There was no pre-made loops.
No, and if there was sequencers, if you weren't in a professional studio, there was no way to sequence and get it synced to music at home. I had a really low budget home studio.
What you had was tools that you had mastered that even though it might have been low budget, that because of your understanding of the technology and the understanding of the 4-track and understanding of how to record and bounce and all, you created something that gave a lot of people, just like I did, a lot of people the opportunity to hear themselves record.
Absolutely.
They could not afford to go into a studio, man. These dudes couldn't afford to go into a studio. We created that for them.
Not only that, there's something that gets lost in that translation when you speak this conversation is not only giving them the opportunity to get on record, but giving them the opportunity to create in comfort. Because when you're in that professional studio and you're on that clock and you're on that dime, there's a whole lot of pressure. But the sessions that we were able to create in the situations that both you and I were in, where someone could come in, mailman could come in and sit with you and bounce ideas back and forth and get creative energy going that didn't even exist in that space a couple minutes ago. And that, I think, is just as important of a contribution to anybody's art form as it is them getting to record.
Yes, and yes.
You have an understanding of people's creative people's creative interests, but you also are a cool, compassionate dude. So when somebody's around you, you're not just sitting there waiting for their session to be over. You're kicking it with them and actually sharing your musical energy with them. And that is sparking something in them that is translated onto that.
I want to know so much. I want the audience to know so much about you. But in order to know about you, we have to talk about us because we were like intertwined during that time. Like we were coming up together.
And we were intertwined for a very long time without knowing each other. We were walking the same path with the same people crossing paths with us.
Yes.
Without knowing about each other, let alone knowing each other.
You know why that is because I was, and you know what, Gaylord, is what did it for me, man. I was just a dude, a strange dude. I'm gonna be just honest. I was a weird dude, strange, introverted dude, down in my
That's why we get
basement,
along.
down in my basement, just doing. And one day Gaylord came over, man, and he was like, it blew his mind, right? It blew his mind, and he's like,
Yeah.
man, you know, I'm. He was telling me he was
Working
working
with Mailman.
letter, and he was managing them, and this and that and the other, and this. Gaylord is the one that pulled me out of my shell, man, because, you know, he's a silly, you know, I didn't start ripping until I met Gaylord. And then I got better at it than him.
I was about to say, you got real good at it real quick.
Like everything else, right? So, you know, you and I are kindred spirits, man. And the thing about it is once I met you, man, I was like, this is a guy that I want to be friends with. Like, I want to be friends with him. Like screw the music. I just want to be cool with him. You had a spirit about you, man, and a way about you.
It was absolutely mutual. That's why we clicked so quick. This is like late 80s, early 90s.
Yes, man. So no, it was 88.
88, okay, cool.
87, 88. Yeah, yep,
Okay.
about that. It's about 87, 88. I was well into Cam's studio by the 90s.
Right.
Much love to you, Mark Allen. Mark Allen is a part of my history as well. And
Mark Allen's cool people, man. Absolutely. You're the one that introduced me to him, and me and him been friends ever since you introduced me.
Yeah, man. It's so funny, man, because Mark and I have like a brotherhood that will go back forever, man. And, you know, it remind me of Prince and Moore's Day type thing. You know what I mean?
Okay.
We had our little disagreements, but the love is always going to be there, man. The thing about it is like he said something I posted about, like, man, you know, just about understanding melody and chords and
that was on my post.
That was you, wasn't it you?
That was on my post for the Michael Jackson Harmony thing.
And what did he say? He said
that, Kaz, this is something that you were always trying to tell me about. Now I understand. Thank you.
Man, we talking like how many years later? That's a beautiful thing, man. That's a beautiful thing, man. That's a beautiful thing.
Things like that are spiritual currency, bro.
Exactly. So let's talk about, we talked about the music, man. We talked about, man, remember the times, man, we would just start the recording button on a 4-track and just get on one track. You get on the drum. Remember that Yamaha what was that drum machine? RX-15?
RX-7.
RX-7, whatever the hell it was. It was RX something. And you pulled, and you was get this, because all the drum machines had back in those days was the sounds that was in them.
Yeah.
That was it. Cowbell, kick.
Yeah. You might
have 2 or 3 snares, maybe 2
yeah, 3 kicks, yeah.
Maybe 3 kicks, you can interchange them.
Bro, how many hundreds of tracks did we blaze with the 3 kicks?
Man, look. And then look, then we had some hits like the burns. But remember you got on the drum.
Right away that somebody had that drum machine, because you hear that.
As soon as you hear the sound, you know what it is, man. As soon as you hear the sound, you know exactly what it is. Remember, you would get on the drum machine, man. I would just play live on the keyboard.
Yes.
And we would just play. Do you know I still have those recordings?
That's crazy.
But I want to talk about the underground hip hop, underground hip hop video magazine.
Yes, sir.
I want to make sure I say it right. Tell people how that got started. Give me the details about how it got started. I'm just going to be quiet and listen to you, because I want people that are watching and listening, I want them to know, and I want to add this to all of history so that people know how this thing, because it was so important to our culture here in Pittsburgh. Talk about it a little bit, please.
No problem. Back then in 92 is when the program began. And then the musical landscape, as far as videos were concerned, was run by MTV and BET. That was it. There were regional shows in other cities that only aired in those cities that we completely were not aware of. And we would watch, whatever we saw visually on BET and MTV. Then there was a channel called the Video Jukebox, where you could order a video on your TV screen over your phone, and they would charge you for watching the video, which would come on a couple minutes after you ordered it. Me and my best friend, Les Bigelow, noticed that there were videos playing on that Video Jukebox channel that we didn't see on MTV and BET. Most notably, Scarface, A Minute to Pray, Second to Die, Too Loud Crew, Me So Horny. There was a group called The Dogs from Miami, Work It Out Baby or something like that. Miami-based music. There was a lot of that on that video jukebox channel, but there was also West Coast stuff. There was stuff, like I said, from Scarface.
Yeah,
And we
man.
weren't
Yeah.
seeing this on BET and MTV. We're like, why didn't we know that these videos are out? And then we're sitting there as we're socializing. We decided, wouldn't it be cool if we could show videos, find videos that people might not have seen, and show them ourselves? And there was a gentleman called named Khalid, that was from the Hill,
Yeah.
that had his own program
Yeah. I
on
remember him. Yep.
he had his own program on Pittsburgh Community Television, Channel 21, called Faces of Pittsburgh, where he would feature things from local events. And we were already inspired, knowing that we could do something like that because we had watched him do it. And so we went through the classes at the channel. We learned how to use the production equipment, and they would let you sign out cameras for free and come over there and use the editing equipment. So we contacted record companies and told them we wanted to start a program, and most of them laughed at us, but 10 of them sent us videos. With those 10 videos, we had Gaylord Lucky Williams and Charles Dice Lewis do introduction, and me and my brother Lee sat there and filmed them doing introductions in front of posters with strobe lights, holding 40 ounces, smoking and socializing and
Amen.
and
Amen.
introducing these videos.
Yeah. Amen.
And,
yeah. Yeah.
it
Go ahead.
was
I'm sorry.
real-
Go ahead. Go ahead.
it was super hood. The first episode is just the classic, most hood stuff you ever gonna see. Anyway, we edited those 10 videos.
Which was beautiful.
Oh, bro, I got it. Somewhere in my archives, I have the bloopers of trying to get through them
Beautiful.
first 10. It has to be 120 bloopers to just trying to do them first 10 episodes, the first 10 introductions. But anyway, we got that episode together, sent it off to the record companies who had supplied us with videos, as well as all the other companies that we wanted to get videos from. And then we started being taken more seriously because they actually had some tangible evidence of us doing the program.
Nice.
What we didn't know was that being in the 150,000 or so households in this region that the station reached gave the record companies a better advantage on this market, because they didn't have anybody promoting video in this market. There were other regional shows in other markets where they could get their videos played in addition to MTV and BET, but there was nothing here. So we didn't know that we had value to them by just doing this.
Yeah.
We just started doing it consistently. We're doing more and more videos. Well, the record companies are sending us uncensored versions of videos.
Right.
And since we're on public access TV, the FCC doesn't have control of public access TV, so now we're able to play these uncensored videos. And occasionally they'd have nudity in them, occasionally they'd have cussing in them, somebody smoking weed in them, drinking in them, whatever. Whatever our mantra was, whatever the director's original vision was, we want to support that vision.
Right.
Put it on
Right.
the way, because that's how we got aware of it. But that's
Right.
Scarface Minute to Pray Second to Death. Now we want to encourage that with whatever is given to us. So over the years of doing one new show every other week for 17 years for 333 episodes, we went from just doing it to see how it would work to the record companies responding immensely, to being able to interview the artists when they would come to town, because we're already playing their videos, so we're already part of their promotion and their promotional packages when they're putting stuff together and saying we're going to do this to promote the artist. We're a part of the conversations in the record company saying we can get our video played by this show in Pittsburgh because I'm cool with him. I talked to him on the phone. He says he has an uncensored show and he'll play our stuff.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's
Dope.
the consistency, there's no emails back then. All relationships in the music industry were done over the phone.
Wait, say that again, because no. See,
no email, none of that typing stuff, none of that leaving a message for somebody. You had to talk to the person in the record company in order to achieve whatever you wanted to achieve, whether it's getting a video, trying to get an interview, meeting an artist, tickets to a concert, whatever it is, you have to
face to face establish a relationship.
Establish a relationship.
Let me ask you a question. Young dude. Well, let me make a statement. Young dude called me old. I says, dude, not only am I old, I'm older than Google.
Mm-hmm.
He's like,
that's right.
Seriously, I'm older than Google. And the thing about it is, man, it's like, we've been doing this for so long, man, and it's like, I think, these young people are like, with the, I don't want to sound old. Nobody wants to sound old, but the truth of it is, man, what we're talking about is the tools and the craft.
Yeah.
And I think there's a disconnect between what these kids have in technology, and they think they don't need the history behind the tools and the craft any longer. And I think that's something that I'm trying to establish, even now, is like all these things that you're talking about as far as the artists and how you had to get in touch with them and how you had to have relationships. Man, you were traveling and people were coming and going. You had so many people. Talk about some of the people that you had up there. Wait,
man,
by the way, on the Hill
man.
District.
Yeah, the show was shot in the third floor apartment in the Hill District, and since I used my home address for my business address because my living room was my actual set for my program.
Right.
So
That's right.
Every Monday or every other Monday, whatever hosts were available out of a revolving staff, it ended up being like 20 hosts over the years. But whatever hosts were available, these were guys who were already hanging out at my house because I was producing music for a lot of people and doing recording sessions with my little studio for a lot of different rappers and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Me and Mailman already are cool because he's up the crib recording some stuff at my studio.
Yeah.
Me and Dice are already cool because he hangs out here recording stuff, like, and all the rest of the people. So whoever was available on that Monday would come up and we watch the videos that were available. We pick however many we're going to fit in that hour. We do the intro for the video.
Yeah.
And me and Les would go to the studio. I was engaged at the time to a woman named Maria. She was also a big part in that.
Yeah, man. She was huge, man. Wherever we saw you, we saw her. She was part of the crew.
She was helping she was handling and establishing those relationships with these managers and video promotions reps who we had to stay in contact with. But anyway, by doing that, now if an artist comes to town to perform, we automatically would get a call from the label saying, hey, my artist is going to be in town. Do you mind doing an interview with them and include it on your program? And it's crazy because when we were recording as me having a studio and I'm working with artists, all we wanted to do was get in the industry.
Right. And now they were coming to you.
The industry is calling
They're
me
coming to
saying,
you now. Yes.
Scarface is going to be in town next week. Do you want him to come to you and you talk to him? And would you play his video? And can we send you a big box of t-shirts and CDs to give away to people for free? And do you mind hanging out with him and showing him where the venue is he's performing in? It was crazy because we handled it like PC. Yeah, man, cool, no problem.
Yeah,
but on the inside, it's like, oh my gosh, Method Man and Redman are in my living room right now. Scarface is in my living room. Wu-Tang Clan is in my living room right now.
Yeah.
Over the years of the 90s, the golden age years, you name somebody who was hot. If they were on tour, they came through. As we were speaking when we were off the air, everyone from Stevie Wonder to Jay-Z has been on our program. If you go on our Instagram page, which is at Underground Hip Hop Video Magazine, there's a photo gallery that has just everybody that we photographed over the years. And in most cases, these people's labels or management either contacted us and said, would we do it? Or we contacted them and said, can we do it?
Yeah.
So you got 3-6 Mafia, South Circle, Ja Rule, Slick Rick, Kool Herc, Keith Murray, Redman, Floetry, Stevie Wonder, Lord Jamar, Shaheem, Ananda Lewis from BT, Dr. Dre, Mailman.
Yeah.
The list goes on and on and on. So these folks would come through, but the lick was they just did 5 or 6 other interviews in 5 or 6 other regions, and they get to our show and find out, hey, they're allowed to cuss. What? This is the 90s. I'm not allowed to cuss. On our show, you're allowed to cuss.
Yeah.
If you drinking, you don't got to put that drink away. If you smoking, you don't got to put that out.
Yeah.
And we're not going to ask you the standard questions. We want to talk about how this hip hop game is affecting you. How's your personal life being affected? How's your family life being affected? What was it what you thought it was going to be? They got around us and were able to get comfortable.
Yeah.
And so the interview would be over and it'd be an hour and a half later, and Redman and Method Man are still there, just hanging out.
Wow, interesting. Very interesting. See, a lot of people don't understand this and how important that was to this region, because we're talking about an apartment up in the Hill District.
Yeah.
You know, third floor of an apartment. People had to, I mean, these dudes had to come in, walk up 3 flights of stairs.
They had to walk, come out. There's a tour bus in the hood. There's a Def Jam tour bus in front of my apartment building.
Exactly. See, this is the stuff. This is what we're talking about. This is the important stuff that people need to understand, how the culture was moved forward.
And you know, back then the Source magazine was running everything. Once
right.
We got the Source found out about us and contacted us, asked us, can they interview us?
Yes.
Now it would people were paying mad bucks to get an advertisement in a quarter page in the Source magazine.
Yeah.
And they're calling us saying, hey, what you're doing is fire. We want to talk about it. They did a full page interview on us, and then the record companies really got crazy with trying to support us. Now they're calling us like, hey, if you want to go to Miami for a 3-day convention, you can take 4 of your guys, we'll pay for your plane, your $500 convention ticket, your hotel, you rent a car, your food. Just all you got to do is make sure you hook up with Keith Murray for 10 minutes and make sure you get good.
Right. That's very important, man. I tell you what.
It's been 4 days on our down.
Yeah. So, hey, listen, man, people need to understand this. The legacy of hip hop here in Pittsburgh is really, really, really extremely important. I normally talk about I wanted to get into with you a little bit about sampling versus, you know, musicianship and that type of thing. I think what we talked about when we were rehearsing, I think we talked about I always loved working with MCs and DJs.
Yes.
I didn't care if they couldn't play, you know what I mean? I didn't care if they could play, because I could play. But the thing that I loved about them, you know, like working with Mailman would come down with a beat, man. I'd be like, ooh, you know, and then as soon as I make that face, I'm picking up the bass. As soon as I make that face, I'm picking up the guitar. And Mailman loved that, man. I think he was really ahead of his time, man, because he started to think instruments in his music. You know, he wanted more than just samples. He got to a point where he wanted more than, and Letter too, by the way, you know, so that created a lot of opportunities for me to get into to hip hop for both of us. Go ahead.
So I'm not gonna let this moment go by without actually saying it, since I haven't really heard nobody else say it to me. I'm gonna say it to you. By default, your influence on Mel becomes your influence on the sound of Dr. Dre. Kaz Lamar.
Man, powerful. Thank you, man.
You gotta admit that. You gotta respect that, because Mailman, you just said you picking up the guitar. Mailman is receptive to the idea of you adding your musical creativity, your funk to his beat.
Yes.
His being receptive to that and what he learned from you translates in the best things, I bet. I can't speak on this. I don't know Dr. Dre, but I bet translates into the best things about what Dre liked about him.
Powerful.
Everything else besides actually making a beat on that SB12.
Right.
Mel was receptive to all kinds of musical influence.
He was, man. He was.
A giant part of that is as a direct result of working with you.
Beautiful, man. Thank you very much for that. You know, it's a funny thing about it, because I mean, when we talk about the legacy of what we've done here, you know, I got to go back to like I said, all those funk bands, and, you know, my stepfather being in a band, and back in the day, you know, all the musicians and all this stuff. And, you know, the one thing that this is why I love working with, like it's so funny, man, because a lot of they get put off by me, like a lot of the beat makers, man. Like I don't understand, you know, where the disconnect is. Instead of somebody saying, look, I should get with him and work with him. You know, I'm telling you, some of them get pissed off and be like, man, you act like you better than us because you know, and it ain't even that type of, I ain't even on that vibe.
Type of party,
no, man. But see, that's the difference between Mailman and a lot of these cats now. See, Mailman was a visionary, you know, and Mailman understood, man, like he wanted to go to another level with this thing, right? And I got so much funk. When I say funk, with me and Mel, man. I got reggae, me and Mel, man. I got pop with me and Mel, man. I got so much stuff in these 4 tracks. I'm gonna tell you something, man. I want to thank you for being who you are, Adam. I want to thank you for what you've done for the culture. I want to give you flowers while you're here, man, because I love you, man. I love what you've done with your life, man. I love what you know, that's heavy. I love watching you. I love watching you grow up. I love watching you be happy, man. I was at your wedding, man. Even though it was on Zoom, I was still there.
My man. And one thing that doesn't get mentioned about the whole 17-year underground hip hop journey is we did not make money off of that.
No,
the
man.
monetary part of the music industry at that time, as it applied to videos, meant giving people power over your decisions in your video show. So we could have gone down a path where we could have monetized some of the stuff, but we didn't want to take what we were doing. So we worked. I'm a janitor for most of the time I'm producing this stuff. So I'm literally in New York at the Roseland Club on stage with Madline and KRS.
Yes.
The next morning, I am pushing a broom and cleaning a bathroom.
And I watched you do it. And I watched you do it, man.
Bigelow is working his full-time job. Marie is working her full-time job. All our hosts, they're working, they're grinding, and we used our own resources for so much of that time in order to put that thing together, to put it out there. We didn't charge people to be a part of it. We didn't charge people to be promoted by it. And the other thing I wanted to mention is during the height of the Hill District and Homewood's biggest beefs, when people were getting laid out, our studio was Hip Hop Switzerland.
Yes, man. Anybody came through. Yes, F3. Yes.
You could have right in the middle of the Hill that you could have Homewood Nigga Music, whole company, mostly Crips.
Yes.
But when you get past the fact that somebody's mostly Crips and mostly Blood, these niggas is cool as hell.
Music.
So that's why our music transcends that type of stuff, because of the fact that we could get around people who, if they walk out the door, could have problems with each other. But inside of that place, they actually looked at each other and respected each other's art, respected each other's craft, and ended up working together later on down the line. We unified so many groups by having multiple
Tuffy Tough. Everybody from there, everybody, man. We all
our first season, our hosting staff was comprised of F3, Tuffy Tough.
Yeah, man. Yes, yes.
All these were people that we not only would interview, not only would promote their material, but we were making them on-screen personalities in order to make sure that, look, you guys to know, Tuffy Tough can be from Mars. I don't care where you're from. Tuffy Tough is dope. F3 can be from wherever F3's from. If you sit there and you are actually a fan of this art form, you cannot deny that they're killing it. And I love listening to them. So why wouldn't I have them? My studio on the Hill. This ain't no Hill District show.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Man, we had Homewood in the house all the time. Cool people is cool people. And even at the height of the biggest beast from Hazelwood, from whatever Spice One concert, where the whole thing fell apart. My niggas is in the audience in the front with the camera when the whole Hazelwood Hill District big fight at Spice One concert breaks out to be near the beginnings of the whole beef situation with the city or whatever. And that stuff got serious, and I would never try to act like we did anything to stop anything, but we did a whole lot to unify people. When people would sit there and watch our program, they know they're watching something on the Hill, and them Homewood is in.
So let me say something.
And they in there with Hill dudes.
Let me interject here just a little bit, because I want to piggyback on what you're saying. Music is a universal language. It's an international language.
It's a unifying thing.
I think what hurts me to my heart, though, seriously, what's hurting me, is that everybody's benefiting from it, but us. And I don't mean that in a negative, derogatory sense. I mean, the people are learning how to package and promote our culture. You know what I mean? And this goes all the way to China. I mean, we can't even create clothing lines without it being the same day it's being duplicated and made cheaply and sold cheaply, and we're being undercut, and we're creating and moving the culture forward, moving everything in this country. This is why even when, let me just say this, because I got to give you your flowers, man, to say, when I talk to old heads that don't like hip hop, like, oh, that's some bullshit. Now, I'm not in that category. I've always been in the hip hop culture, man. It's something I had to learn about it, man, and understand what it was. Do you know it was Mel Plowden that explained it to me? I said I couldn't understand how somebody could just take somebody else's work, sample it whole, and put some lyrics over top of it and call it theirs.
I got to give Mel his props, man. He started a video program.
Mel Plowden, we're talking about.
Yes,
Melly Mel, yes.
Yes. At the same time that we started ours in our first season, him and one of his partners started a video show, and we were in kind of competition with each other. And
it's great. Like, it was great.
Yeah, and it was like we weren't like not speaking, like kind of rivals, kind of I don't mess with them because they do a show and we do a show, so I don't mess with them like that. And then me and Mel Plowden ended up getting so cool together.
I got a picture of you. I know you can't see it right now, but I got a picture of you and him up to you and Mel Plowden, and it says Hip Hop Pioneers next to it. Hey, listen, man. I wish I had more time, man, to get into this, man. I just want to, I want to love on you, man, because you deserve it, man. You and everybody that was involved in the underground hip hop video magazine. I keep almost messing that up because now my brain is stuck in the wrong way. But you guys deserve your flowers, man, for doing something. And I'm telling you, man, that what we did for the culture, and the thing about it is like when I'm talking to older people that don't that were back in the 70s that soul music, and they're like, I don't listen to that mess up. Like, look, man, somebody explained it to me this way. Kids use what they got to use to get what they need to get. And, they use whatever tools you give them. But what I want to ask you a question, and I guess a parting question before because I got my man coming up in a little bit, Troy Scott. I want to ask you this question. What would you tell somebody that's trying to get into this business from the things you learned from when you were in it? What would you tell them to do differently than you did?
Try not to be hypnotized and enchanted by the ease of how things are done, and try to concentrate on the quality of what you're doing. Because nowadays, you were reflecting earlier in the interview on the recording process, which you asked me to explain, and I ended up going in a different direction and not really explaining it. But we had no choice but to concentrate on individual parts of the entire process. Now it's so easy to just slap stuff together and put it out. The quality control has almost disappeared. So if you are a creative and you have a vision, that vision deserves to be nurtured and put together properly before presented. So try to hold off on the popularity of being seen doing your craft, and just do your craft.
Yeah, man, that's really important, because you just said something just like that just grabbed my soul, man. I don't think young people are worried about their legacy right now. They don't even think they're gonna be living in the next 10 years. But legacy matters, man. And if they do live, the process, like if I listen to my 4-track stuff, I could say now that the time and energy that I put into that was like legacy stuff. The same way you can do that. You can look at the time and energy you put into it, and you can be proud of what you did, man. I don't know that a lot of what I'm hearing today, 10, 20 years from now, they're going to say this was a work of art. It's like they made something today and put it out tomorrow, and I think, that eventually, man, art, it doesn't have to be this long, complicated process, because trust me, I got in a group, MPC group that was, I think it's MPC is behind it. They're like low key. They're acting like it's like this little group. I got in, it had like 35,000 members in it. I got in it, man. As soon as I criticized sound like I was criticizing the technology, man, here come all these Asian names They were coming like, man, they came for me, man. They were like,
Okay.
I said, okay, I see what this is now, man. So it's a business. They're making these machines cheap and easy for kids to buy so that these kids can create and figure out the culture and make something out of it and then steal their wealth once they do it. That's how I see it.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if anybody else is paying attention to this. Like I said, this is a visionary thing. This is something that I saw with sampling, something that Mailman and I had a serious conversation about. So, hey, listen, man, I want to thank you for being here, man. I listen, I don't know how to give you flowers, man, because you've been such an important person in the culture that
I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. And then just being my friend and just being a person that, hey, man, hey, if I don't talk to you for like 3 months and we talk just like right now, it just feels so natural. Thank you.
Man, it's like it could be 3 years, bro.
It don't matter. It don't matter. Hey, listen, I want to get Troy on here, man, but I want to thank you for taking the time out. Say hello to your beautiful wife for me, please, and your kids.
Sure.
And hey, man, we're gonna talk, and hey, we got to figure out how to do something together again, man. Because let's do an old geezer tour or something, man. Something.
Okay. Before I go, can I please say the success of the program is as a direct result of my on-screen personalities.
Yes.
Black Steel to Lucky to Dice. There's 20 of them, and I apologize for not.
Rick Smooth, Inkster, Cynic Lethal was on there for a little bit.
Absolutely. Everyone from
Doc Diesel,
XL, Doc Diesel,
yes.
Mailman,
yes.
Tough. There was just so many.
You gave everybody the opportunity that wanted to do it. You gave I don't know if did you ever tell anybody no?
No, but people would come to me and say, hey, I want to be on your show. And I'd be like, okay, come up here and read the intro. And everybody was an artist or a DJ or a creative to begin with. So they all had personality. But I don't want to do any speaking on the program without thanking them.
Thank you, man.
Out of 333 episodes, I was actually on 2 of them. I've been the hermit. Know that I'm a hermit all my life. We
were always behind the scene, man.
Me posting pictures with people online is the most visible I've ever been through most of the show.
That's that introverted bull crap, man. I had to come out of my shell and say, screw that, man. I'm jumping. I am going to get on and do my own show, man. It took a whole lot for me to do this.
Yes, I'm glad you are, man, because it's wonderful and we are all better for it, bro. So I'm glad you do it.
Thank you, man. Hey, listen, all love, much respect to everybody. Round of applause for my man. Hey, love you. Take care of yourself, and we will talk real soon, my man.
Yes, sir, man. Thank you very much, and I love you right back, bro. You have a good one, and I hope everything goes good with Troy. I'm gonna say what's up. You have a good evening.
Absolutely. Thank you, man. Hey, I want to welcome you to the show, man. Hey, first of all, I want to thank you for agreeing to be on. I have a process that I involve when doing the show. Like, I'm very specific in how I want to do the show, and I give instructions like, okay, let me know this. Man, you were on it right away and did what you were supposed to do, and I was like, man, yeah, that was very impressive, man. Thank you so much for making it easy for me. And also, I want to just introduce you to the audience as a music producer and also a Kaz's Corner producer group member. You're very active in the group, man, and you're very, I love the way you participate. You and I have the same common goal. We talk about a lot of the same things. So that's some of the things we're going to talk about tonight. Hey, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience and tell them, you know, what you did, how you got involved in music and whatnot. We know each other through family, so we ain't gonna get all into that. But yeah, but the thing about it is, man, I listen to your music and I said to myself, let me be really clear, Troy. When I listen to people's music, I listen for process. You cannot. I just know me. I need to hear process.
Right.
I need to hear process, man. And I think that's one of the issues that we talked about music today. But when I listen to your music, I could hear that you put time and effort into your music. So talk a little bit about how you got into music, why music is important to you, and we have Prince in common, so we'll talk about that a little bit too. Why don't you get into that a little bit and tell me a little bit about how you got into music?
Okay, yeah. Well, I kind of, I grew up like my mom, my mom didn't play any instruments or anything, but music. There was music always playing, when I'm growing up as a kid. So, I got all that history of it. I like through the Motown era, back in the Sly and the Family Stone, all of that.
Yeah.
Because my mom was always playing all this music. So I think that's where my love for music started. My dad, he sang and stuff like that. So, but I didn't really grow up with my dad. So I was with my mom, but her love for music, I think, kind of inspired me. And then I started getting attracted to, I think, well, when I was younger, I was trying to learn, like little instruments that you pick up when you were a kid. I remember there was a guy, my next door neighbor. We used to play bongos and different percussions and stuff. And he ended up going on to become like a phenomenal drummer. He lives up in New York right now. And, I kind of started going a little bit in a different way towards the string instruments, and that bass sound started attracting my ear.
Yeah. Okay.
So then I was like, I like how that bass is sounding. So I was, I'm begging my mom to buy me a bass, because we back in them days where,
ain't nobody had no money for no instruments.
Yeah, exactly.
Ain't nobody had no money for that.
Yeah, they're like, you ain't gonna play that thing, it's a big city. I was begging my mom, get me a bass, please. Yeah.
Not only am I gonna play it, but I'm gonna get in the band and play it.
Right.
So it's funny. And when we talk about this, there was always that one person that like made it happen for you, like to put it in your hands, like that bass being put in your hands gave you a tool.
Mm-hmm.
It gave you a tool, and then you already had your motivation, because Prince was already in, and you already found somebody that you can relate to.
Right.
You know what I mean? Somebody that you can relate to that can motivate you. And talk to me about how you became a huge Prince fan, man. We got that in common.
Okay, yeah, man. I started playing bass like I think I was around 11, somewhere around that age. And I'm kind of messing around with my bass and trying to learn it and stuff. And my cousin, he lived up, we lived up in the projects. I lived up in Arlington Heights. If any Pittsburgh people is listening. And my cousin, we started, some of my friends up there, we started a little band. We practicing in each other's living rooms, and when our moms would
let's say his name. Ira. You talking about Ira?
No. Me and Ira ended up hooking up later. But this is my cousin Keith.
Got you.
Keith
Okay.
Barnsley.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
He by the name Jinx 7 when we were producing stuff. So but anyway, he lived right across from me in the project. You know how the project buildings are.
Sure. Yeah, of course.
And he started playing drums, started trying to learn how to play drums. A couple other guys I grew up with, a guy named Carlton, he was playing guitar, few other people. And we kind of got a little band together. But just to get on the Prince thing real quick is, I heard Prince's first album, and he had that song called Soft and Wet. And, I heard it, but I didn't really latch on to, I didn't go buy the album, but I heard it. And then my cousin comes over, his second album came out. My cousin comes over with this, we already practiced in our little band stuff. And he comes over with Prince's second album. And he's like,
that was it, man. That was it. Once we heard that, man, we was gone.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God. I was like, who is this dude? You know, and I'm reading the, you know, the credits on the
Yeah,
album.
right,
Like
right.
they did that, you know.
He
It's like
played everything. You like what?
exact produced, performed, everything
Composed,
on everything.
arranged, all them words.
Yeah. And I'm like, wow, I'm just blown away by this. I was a fan ever since the music he was doing. I mean, I just thought it was phenomenal. I mean, I was just like, wow, this dude is just he's a musical genius.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. You know, we kind of were into him like people were like he was into Stevie Wonder.
Right.
You know,
right.
we saw him like the same way he saw Stevie Wonder. But what I wanted to get at really is that's what really started you into this. Prince was a musician, and he was an accomplished musician, and not just a musician, a guitar player. He was accomplished on the keys, the piano, and on the bass.
Right.
And he was very knowledgeable of the recording process. See, that's what opened our brains up to different aspects of this business. So, you know, now we were talking about like technology, because I want to kind of like, you know, segue into talking about some of the messaging. Now, I'm one of the biggest Prince fans. Everybody that knows me knows that I'm one of the biggest Prince fans there ever is, just like you are. But here's the thing, man. I understood how he got caught up in the industry, man, and started to, like, you know, in order for him to get on, he had to do certain things and started getting, you know, kind of sort of like had to, you know, be more about image to get people to pay attention to his talent, you know, all that goofy stuff. But the thing about it is, man, is that one thing I love about him is that he made that complete cycle, man, at 360 degrees. When he got older, man, he regretted a lot of the stuff that he did in the beginning of his career. He understood why he did it. And now he was out trying to teach us, everybody, like, about the business. That brings me to this point: negative messaging in the industry and how music is a vehicle for negative messaging, especially to urban audience. And negative messaging in music, it's not new. It's not anything new. It you know, this started with, and I'm gonna be honest, man, it started in my mind when gangster rap came out.
Exactly.
I'm gonna be honest, man. It came when
say hello to my friend.
Scarface. You know what else was it? Was the
colors thing.
Yeah, all that stuff, man.
Yeah.
Yes, we got cut. We like, oh man, and that really, that's when the Italian culture affected the urban culture.
Right.
And we started putting that funk music behind it, and that made it cool.
Yeah. Because the West Coast, I think kind of when I can remember, you know, when the West Coast was doing a thing with the Crips and the Bloods, and it started seeping into the hip hop culture, music, and you know, I just think like people were adopting it, you know, with music, and it really didn't have anything to do with music, in my opinion.
Right.
You know, like you said, it was just it was making this industry money.
Man, when they figured that out, that they could package urban hip hop culture. See, you know, a lot of people were proud of that. A lot of people say, yeah, hip hop is everywhere. Hip hop is everything. But the one thing that it did is it co-opted it and took it from us. It's, you know, and it's like, people don't understand, man. Even like what they're doing right now. If you think about the messaging, if you think about the women, I'm not gonna tear them down. I'm not gonna tear the Cardi B's down. I'm not gonna tear the Megan Thee Stallions down. You know, I'm not gonna tear down, you know, all the mumble rappers and all that stuff, man. They're trying to get a bag. But that's what we're talking about here. Let's talk about some of the messaging. What are they talking about in some of this music? Do you know?
Yeah, man, when I think back, you know, like if we go back to the beginning, you know, the Sugar Hill Gang and all of that stuff, like it was Curtis Blow. It seemed like, you know, hip hop they were sharing our stories, like from the hood, you know, like the struggles, like, you know, single parenting, all that stuff. It
was about trying to make it out of it.
Right.
It wasn't glorifying it. It was talking about making out of it.
Yeah, it wasn't destructive, you know.
Yeah.
to the neighborhoods, in my opinion. And then, you know, the gangster rap and all of that started coming in, and it kind of got destructive to the culture of hip hop. You know, it was making money, but yeah.
Gangster rap is what spread and I'm gonna say this, and I'm probably gonna get, you know, some heat for it, but gangster rap is what spread the gang culture.
Yeah.
To the cities that didn't even know nothing about it. Like in the East Coast, we didn't know nothing about all that mess. They brought a whole nother culture, and they used funk music to do it. Now, let me say this, Troy. I you know, we just heard Adam. Adam said something I thought that was extremely important. He says that I had a lot of impact on Mailman. One of the things that I had impact on Mailman was putting funk music into rap. And we started doing that long before Dr. Dre was even doing it. I mean, if you look at the time frame that we were doing it, and you look at the time frame and what he was doing at that time, he was doing East Coast stuff, like sampling, looping, you know, we were like playing like live tracks, like, you know, and there was everybody in this Pittsburgh area and also in Ohio. That's what we did. We was funksters. That's what we did, right? You remember that's what we did. Yeah. Bands, funk.
Right, because I grew up on the Parliament Funkadelic.
Yes.
And all of that funk, stuff, and just incorporating that into hip hop. Yeah, that was part of what it was all about.
But see, the thing was, is a lot of us was going down there to LA, and we was taking that stuff with us, man. And them dudes, because we didn't have the vehicle to put that stuff out, we didn't, you know, they picked it up and they made it popular, and it became their sound.
Went out there too. Sneed.
Yeah, Sam Sneed. Sam Sneed. Yep. Yeah.
He was great.
But anyway, I wanted to talk to you about technology as well. Man, they just trying to get everybody to keep buying these machines, man.
Exactly. And yeah, 6 months to a year or so, it's like the upgrades or it's already outdated because they keep updating everything. And I think, man, you were talking about that. As a matter of fact, with Ira, when he was going back and forth with you, with same thing happened to me. It was just an update on my Mac computer.
Right.
You know, just like Mac updating its operating system. And I just did an update on my operating system, and then my interface wasn't working anymore.
That's the game. That's the game.
Exactly what I did, man. I was like, I stopped. I think I don't know how many, you know how Mac will change their, they on Sierra or whatever.
Yeah. Katana, whatever the heck. It's always something.
Yeah, I haven't even upgraded anymore and I made it where my computer won't, it won't automatically do it.
That's right. Yeah, manually going there and do that. That's the smart thing.
Going through that again with the interfaces anymore.
So tell me what you think. You know, you haven't told me, what is these kids talking about in this music, man? What are they talking about nowadays? What are they talking about?
I think honestly, I don't even know, man. It's
who's behind this messaging?
That's a good question. I think it's the industry. Well, like me and you, I think we agree on that when we say, you know, the powers that be in the industry, or it's all about making money. So you can just be a pawn in their scheme to make money, and they'll just put music out there. Who cares what it's saying or what's the messaging? The messaging is, I think, very destructive to our culture, the urban culture, and you know what's so funny? And I'm thinking about this with the thing with Dave Chappelle. To bring that in real quick, when he just did his thing, he did his closer show, and he made a comment, a statement where he said, you know, he's talking about the baby, you know, he's saying how, you know, black music, we can sit there and talk about shooting and killing and nigga this and nigga that and you know, degrading our women and all that type of stuff. But he said, when he said something about the LGBT community, he said, you can't say anything to offend them, but nobody's over here saying anything about this. You know, we're sitting here saying all this, you know, stuff. You know, it's making money, but you know, nobody's mad about it. But if you say something over here, then people are getting their feathers all ruffled. You know, so
I'm gonna just be honest.
That's a good point to make about that.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I'm gonna tell you something about me. I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say it here, and I'm gonna say it publicly. People that get bullied can turn into bullies.
Right.
You know, and I think that's a lot of what's happening right now. You know, power corrupts everybody. And you know, when you start canceling people and thinking you can control whether they make money and all this type, you've now become the bully.
Right.
So instead of having a conversation to get people to understand, you know, you don't use your words anymore. What you do is you're using tactics, the same oppressive tactics that are used against black people. Now you're using against everybody now. Like, that's oppression. To stop someone not to be able to make a living anymore because they disagree with your views or what you think. Now, there's always in this, and I'm not saying it's an excuse because violence does occur, but I'm gonna tell you something. Being in law enforcement, do you know who the number one violence and murder is? Trans black people.
Right.
But it's like the people that are complaining are not the transgender black people. It's like it's the Caucasian ones that like they have these big, powerful groups. That soon as you say something, I'm not going to get all into that. I'm not trying to turn. I believe everybody should live their life and do what they want to do. Right. I just don't believe in the over sexualization of children. Just that whole concept. If you're either with us or you're against us, and I think that's how everything operates now. And I also think one more quick thing, because we're talking about urban. I think every time we try to ally with someone else, they take over our oppression and make it their oppression.
Exactly.
I'll just leave it there. And I'm done with it. That's controversial enough. I'm gonna leave it right there. But what's going on with our artists? What's going on with these kids? What's going on with, you know, all of them trying to make everything about sexual and being, you know, whether they're, you know, gay or not? Who cares? Why can't they just do music and just let it go?
Music, like, I don't know. I'm just thinking I'm like, what happened to music? Because music, you know, it's supposed, music can transcend you. It can take you to higher levels and bring your spirit. Music is supposed to be uplifting to your spirit and not destructive to your spirit. And I think that's why we, like with me and you, we agree, like, as far as learning an instrument, learning a bass, learning a guitar, learning piano or percussions or any instrument. And the reason why I'm saying that is because, like you said, like music comes from the soul. So with technology, and I'm not against technology, but you got to learn how to blend technology with like learning music. So when you don't learn music like an instrument or something and you're just using technology, then that music's not coming from your soul because that music's already been created.
It's not even yours. You know, and they're okay with it. They're complete like I was talking to my man Cynic Lethal, and he was like, they don't care. They don't care, but they don't care about their soul, you know. And the thing about it is like, you listen until you bend a guitar note, and you wonder why Prince is making that face.
Right.
You'll never understand it, man. Is there anything that you wanted to promote on here? Is there anything that you wanted to say on here, man? Because you're such a supporter, I want to give you an opportunity to be able to, you know, to talk about what you want to talk before we get out of here.
Oh yeah, no. Well, you know, I try to support, you know, there's a lot of like our other, the group members, you know, like Danny Vassar.
Yeah, man.
and I saw,
she's about to come out with some hot stuff. Yeah.
Danny get ready to drop a new single or something.
Yeah.
You know, I'm always looking for her stuff when she's you know, I'll download her stuff from iTunes or whatever. You know, just our fellow musician friends and stuff like that. I'm always, you know, in agreement to promote our fellow artists and, you know, Bunny and them out there on the West Coast.
Man. She and I became like, man, I found her on the internet just jamming, funking on some keyboard.
Yeah.
I said, I didn't even know she was connected to Brian Edwards. I just was checking her out myself.
I did the same thing, and she had a video with her in the Rugged.
Doing a thing.
And I seen the video.
Got us both. That's how they got us.
Yeah.
Hey, shout out! I'm gonna get the rugged. I'm gonna get the rugged on here too, man. I really want to talk to that dude, man. Like I'm gonna have him on here as well. So, hey, listen, man. I wanted to thank you for being so supportive of the group, man, and thank you for getting involved. Hey, like we're like family, man. So I'm gonna have you over, man. We're gonna get together, man. And hey, if there's any way that I can help you do what you're doing, I have no problem with it.
Like I was listening when you and Adam was talking, and same thing, man. I think like we were connected through music, even though we didn't know each other yet. And I got to find this video, Kaz. I got a video, like when I was going to Art Institute for that music and video program I was in. And that's kind of how I first seen you. It was a guy, he was dealing with Mark, I think.
Mark Allen.
Yeah, when he was doing stuff over there.
Yeah, Cam Studio. Yep, that was our studio. We had
Cam Studios. And I got a video of an interview that I got to find it because I want to show it to you. And like I said, we didn't even technically know each other yet, but we were kind of connected through music in that way before we even really knew each other.
And the video was what, me doing an interview or you doing an interview?
Yeah, you was doing an interview for it was a guy when I was attending the school down there. It was a guy that I was going to school with who was dealing with Mark, and I guess he was knew you, and that's when you was recording with Danny, and all stuff over there. Yeah. And he just did a little interview, like kind of like what we're doing now.
Absolutely.
About music. Yeah.
Word.
Yeah.
Hey man,
I got this on VHS tape somewhere.
Hey man, find that thing. I want to see it. Troy, thank you so much, man. I'm gonna get up out of here, man. I appreciate you coming on, man. This was a great time, man. I enjoyed talking to you, man. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna do my little summary, and I'm gonna get out of here, man. Peace and love, man.
All right, Cass. Peace.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. You are a wonderful audience. This is probably going to be on YouTube. I'm going to do some editing, fix some things up, and throw it on YouTube. Please go to my YouTube page and subscribe. All you have to do is just Google YouTube/Kaz Lamar, and my videos should come up. Subscribe, please. All my group members, I want you to subscribe because I may eventually just get off of Facebook. Facebook is acting goofy. Yeah, I said it. They're acting real goofy. So, hey, listen, I'm out of here. Love y'all. Hey, peace and love.